there, dear performers, and welcome viewers to the January 2021 edition of Poetic License and Open Mic. My name is Donna Shear, and our general theme tonight is A New Beginning. Thanks to the amazing Andrew Richards, who helps us organize and guides us through this virtual format. Thank you, FCTV, for all of your marvelous programming. Here's a sampling this month, co-hosted by the Reverend Mabane and Angela Scott Price. Their 6th episode of The Conversation is now airing on Channel 13. The discussion focuses on 2 questions. What role did race play in the events at the Capitol? And how do we overcome the deep divisions in our country? Falmouth Health Agent Scott McGann brings us weekly updates on COVID-19. And there's something new for the Falmouth School Vacation Week, 2 virtual sessions online. The first is 3D animation for students 12 and up, and the second is video game streaming for ages 8 and up. All the particulars are on the website. You can also read about the Super Bowl, and that is spelled Souper, Super Bowl. And it's sponsored by the Falmouth Jewish Congregation and the Wacoit Congregational Church. This fundraiser will continue until the end of January, and money is raised and donated to our Falmouth Service Center. And lastly, look what I got in the mail this week. It's my FCTV membership card. Oh boy. When you become a member, and individual memberships are still only $30 annually, you too will receive a membership card like this. Select local businesses will honor your card with a 10% discount. And there's a long, long list of businesses. If you see them on the website, they're posted and they're updated. fctv.org for all of that information. And now, performers, it's time for you to shine. When I read your name, please unmute your mic, repeat your name. We have a bunch of new performers tonight. Each of us has a 4-minute time slot for the share. This is a wonderful group. Tonight, it's a rather large group, so Andrew and I will help keep track of the time. I'm going to start us off. And I'll preface my poem with a question. When the bough breaks, will there be someone to cushion the fall? This is called This Destiny Tree. Seeds planted long ago, germinated in darkness, rooted in Teutonic soil, watered as a rule with resentment. I have seen trunks attempt to swallow no trespassing signs, embedding them into their bitter bark. Parent trees in discontent fossilize, block the light. Their sweet saplings grow yellow-leafed and wither. Yet it takes all kinds to fill a forest. Striplings, like lost sheep, grow beetle-bitten and woolly with lichen and burls. Hardwood elbows up from sidewalk cracks, determined to hero on. Evergreen peacemakers and poets break open their pine cones, scatter hope, while trembling poplars and birch, addicts peeling in ecstasy, shed and shred early death. But in every generation, there comes a sheltering tree or 2 or 3. Those whose taproots run deep. Far from the bonfire they gather light, bear blessed fruit, and trace rings around our heartwood. Joyce Wilson, so nice to see you. You're up.
Nice to see you. Thank you so much, Joyce Wilson. I live in Scituate, but I spent many years in Falmouth when my parents had a place here. And the first poem I will read is about a trip my husband and I took into town when I had a checkup with a dermatologist. And it took us, we left really early. It took us 2 hours to get there, and I had to wait an hour, and the appointment took 15 minutes, and then we spent another hour and a half getting home. But anyway, the trip into town during the pandemic. As we join the parade of cars on the solemn roads, where the stately trees are all marked for removal, and people carry signs and shout in hope that with the trees, they'll save their neighborhood, we seem to have joined a temporary state of existence where nothing is certain. And I want to say they've stopped the plans to redo that road, and they're not going to take down those trees. The city has decided. So that's good. Everything seems to be closed but the hospitals. I am too early for my appointment. I must wait in the lobby. In the cafe, they have coffee. John is still driving, looking for a place to get his breakfast. He ends up away, far away from this dead city center. We wear our masks. We don't wear masks. We drive past the museum on our way home. I vow to get tickets to come back for the show, the current show. I reserve the tickets, but in time I do not go. It is the surge, the second surge, and we must all stay home. So that's not really about a beginning. I hope it's about an ending. The other poem I'll read about is it will appear soon in the Lyric Poetry magazine, and it's about my favorite activity, walking my dogs. And I had two shelties. They didn't like being walked, really. They wanted to go herd something, but I did walk them, trying to keep them on leashes, and I enjoyed the interaction between them. One was dominant and the other was always compensating. I don't name them in the poem. It always seemed to me there was the one and there was the other. So the one and the other. One, I drop a leash, the other picks it up to be of use, especially to top the one who catches every ball that's tossed, then cries, a baby, when the ball is lost. The other watches, waiting for his chance. With ball in mouth, he lengthens his advance. Two, one walks on water as he'd cross a field, then sinks in tidal wavelets, forced to yield. The other, sees the ocean as a threat, is horrified that one has gotten wet. Whenever one will try to slip away, the other's bark is heard across the bay. Three, and even now, although the one has died, the other barks to bring him to his side. He listens for his step across the green, will know him when he comes. Months intervene. The other starts to stretch his limbs and run. Then he is not the one, the other, he's the one. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. So lovely.
Yeah.
Always interesting to hear pandemic poems and stories written in the moment.
Yeah.
I'll take a dog poem any day.
Right, I know.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We have a new friend here tonight. Her name is Lisa Cantor. Welcome, Lisa. Can you unmute your mic, darling? You're trying?
I apologize for that.
That's okay. Thank you.
That's going to be edited out. Just to tell you, my dog applauded the last poem. So my name's Lisa Cantor. A new beginning. So isn't it so that a life, our life, your life, is marked by unanticipated shifts, by little evolutions, the holding ons, the letting goes, the stepping aways and moving towards, and sometimes the being pried away from the homes, the loves, the bodies we've known, our routines, the rhythms interrupted, or so it seems. Dragged in directions uncharted, our wanting hearts notice endings. As a global virus decides that we must yield, that only utter solitude will be our shield, we hear our own frightened cries from our collective deep insides. No, this cannot be so. And yet, always beginnings beckon. The late poet laureate Maya Angelou tells us, "This is a beautiful day. I've never seen this one before." This is a beautiful day. I've never seen this one before. What does it take for us to look? Standing at the shore, a spectacular sky, views unfolding in brilliant hues, and sometimes more out of habit, we stand imprisoned in the raging thunderstorms of our mind. We think and think our way out of the landscape. And as we submit, we cast ourselves out of our own blessed belonging. If we would only quiet down and look. And now, our new youth poet laureate, Amanda Gorman, reminds us the new day dawns as we free it, for there's always light if we're brave enough to see it. And the wise ancient poet Rumi implores us, inside this new love, die. Your way begins on the other side. Become the sky. Take an axe to the prison wall. Escape. Walk out like someone suddenly born into color. Listen now to the echoes of an 18th century hymn. My life goes on in endless song, above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, though far off hymn that hails a new creation. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? This is a beautiful day, if only we're brave enough to see it. Take an axe to the prison wall. Let us all keep on singing. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. That was so lovely. Thank you. I love the way that you mentioned the wisdom of different poets. It seems like when people speak in poetry and sing, we seem to say a lot more than we do in conversation or big old history books. It's wonderful. Thank you so much for your share.
Thank you.
Let's see, Patricia Austin, it's your turn, my friend.
Okay, well, hi and happy New Year, everyone. And Lisa, that was wonderful. That was wonderful. Thank you very much. And I'm gonna go. I'm gonna follow in the little animal thing, in the little animal stream. This is called "Life Among the Giants." From those who live among the giants, one might expect complete compliance and not instead yawning defiance accompanying entitled reliance. Thus is the nature of feline dance. Susceptible giants fall entranced, wishing to please and appease each glance, delighted by a destructive prance. Actions of cats among the giants must not be seen as malfeasance, causing captors to withdraw their grants and toss them out among shrubs and plants to fend with ferals, grubs, and ants, and end upon coyotes' lats. For from the time of the Pharaoh hence, cats have been man's best defense against insidious arrogance, having scaled the top of nature's fence, and in spite of disobedience, thinking the mother takes no offense at behavior clearly malevolent, man lives to wreak more hindrance. Why no earthly retaliance? Maybe 'cause cats crave his presence. Perfect. Two paws up. Benevolence through unconditional acceptance.
Ogden Nash comes to mind.
Aha!
I am so happy that the cats got equal time tonight. Thank you so much, Patricia. Oh, let's see. Bernadette, welcome to our poetic license. You're another new friend. We're so glad to have you here tonight.
Grateful to be here. Yes, my name is Bernadette Gleason. My cat is sleeping. I had to make him tired before this started, otherwise he'd be right here. I'm just going to share a couple short pieces. The first one's called Cacophony. I hear that I am not what I've done, and by extension, I am not what has been done to me either. But what about the residual? What about the after effect? What about the hangover of thinking I'm an original with bourgeois principles in a world that craves magic? How do you sever ties with single white female lies? For is my cacophony only for the written or spoken lines? Because I am certain it defines more of my actual life, a banging of sorts, screaming and rumbling. For there can be a specific sound to your story, especially through the humbling of consonants. A continent of harshness, it's jarring actually. The competing voices no longer in vicinity, yet their artillery still striking, their incongruity still heightened. And my whole being has whiplash, even though the scene of the crash was forgotten. This next one's called From. It's a little lighter. A BK bacon double cheeseburger will always be from Mrs. P. And I never asked. An 11-year-old with basketball shorts underneath her plaid skirt only prays when tasked with need. And she delivered a bag full of beef when my generic budding corned beef between 2 slices of wheat just felt empty. And a few feet away, up the stairs, corner pocket of the Smokestone Brigade of Church Street, sat another saintly woman. From this place, I met a shalom rebel of grace every morning, prayerful hands. I sat and walked and dressed like I was her clone. I wanted her to take me home. I wanted her to own me. She told me that I was meant to lead. From where? And from whom? Like Jean? I wonder if she knew how badly I bleed before I truly embraced that damn mustard seed. I didn't, and I still struggle. I just wanted all the people to love me outside all the steeples, that I'd do anything to impress, memorize prepositions in excess, and rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And so in many defeats and triumphs, I became what I always wanted to be and what I always needed to see. About, above, across, after, against, along, amid, around, as, at, barring, before, behind, below, beneath, beside, between, beyond, but, by, concerning, considering, despite, down, during, except for, from, always connotes God. That's it. Thanks.
Oh, Bernadette, thank you so much. Especially in From, all those images, very strong and unexpected. But my favorite word was in the first poem, Vujade. That was so awesome. Thank you so much. John Jackson.
Okay, here we go. My name is John Jackson, still is, and I'm still doing Limericks of Protest. Been an interesting month for doing political limericks, I will say, but let's start with new beginnings. From January 1st, in 2021 Anno Domini, follow this simple economy. To reap dividends, give again, by treating the world with bonhomie. January 6th was a particularly ugly day, and I happened to be home from work that day. And I only came up with 1 or 2 things at that time. At the ending of 4 ugly years, sowing hatred and reaping the fears, one could wish for splendid as it is ended. Instead, it is ending in tears. The next morning, I woke up, and with Washington Post on one tab on my browser and a rhyming dictionary in the other, I wrote about 5 limericks in 10 minutes before I even had my coffee. The better ones follow. Our democracy again has been tested. Many proud boys been arrested. They entered the halls scaling Capitol walls, proving that walls can be bested. Violence was Trump's date to the prom. Now the situation is calm. DC cops giving details they found Molotov cocktails and 2 unexploded pipe bombs. When the mob came, Congress went into hiding. When the smoke cleared, the adults were deciding to work through the night to do what is right and gratify President Joe Biden. We'll skip that one. A face-painted, self-righteous dude wears fake furs and horns in the mood. Turns out his guest pass was criminal trespass, and the prison does not serve good food. Oh. You may recall Mr. Trump wanted to give the Medal of Honor to 2 golfers and a football coach. Trump has announced that he has medals for warriors on the grass. Belichick says, I'm calling the plays 4th and long, but I'm going to pass. When the lawsuits fold like origami, it's hard to be Rudy Giuliani. It isn't just hard being disbarred, but he's not going to get paid by Donnie. Trump's inaugural crowd on the mall, compared to Obama's, was small. Things that we've learned have people concerned. Joe Biden gets no crowd at all. Side note, I want to spoil the party. I've already spoiled the party, so I'll go. I can't tweet my disappointment to show. There's nothing for me here, so I will disappear. I have a tea time at Mar-a-Lago. Impeached a time or two, and I don't care. Everything's alive in my hair. I wonder what went wrong. Rudy's waited far too long. Ivanka took a walk, I'll look for her. So they're low class on the mall. I still love them. They have stormed the Capitol. I still love them. I would love to spoil the party, so I'll go. I won't see my presidency go to Joe. There's nothing more that's fun, so I'll get on Air Force One. I have a tea time at Mar-a-Lago. With apologies to John and Paul, George and Ringo, I suppose, too. So on January 20th, we had another event. So many things we'll never know, where we were and where we will go, but I'd like to pause and give silent applause. Godspeed you, President Joe. Every word, every rhyme, every I am. It's all about choices, by damn. It's like dry stone walling. Amanda Gorman, her calling. She's much better at it than I am. Opposite pole, but not as extreme. His candidacy not an end, but a mean. Bernie could have had both, could have taken that oath instead of becoming a meme. And Donnie, you did ask me last month what I was going to do for inspiration going forward. On the day of Biden's inauguration, a sigh of relief across the nation. Now, I'd never confuse Trump for the muse, but he sure did provide inspiration. Thank you.
Brilliant, John. Thank you so much. Yes, we did expect January to be uneventful. Surprise.
We did not expect that. Half the ones that I deleted were foretelling awful events, some of which actually were awfuler than they were, and some of which didn't happen at all.
True. Normal day. Yep.
Yep.
Nice singing too. Thank you, John.
Everything comes back to the Beatles sooner or later.
All right, Sue Carlson.
Hi, Sue Carlson here, just repeating. I think my poem is kind of a blending of what Lisa was talking about and what John was just talking about. It was written at the beginning of this year and the beginning of this month, after the January 6th insurrection and before the January 20th inauguration. Upon awakening at 2 a.m. and wanting to think of joyous times in life, what came was this visceral sense of first flights of windsurfing in San Diego and later at Dowses Beach on Cape Cod. I'm just going to share a photo from 1982. Let me just get this share up here. So that's me, one of my first times windsurfing in 1982, about 40 years ago. Anyway, the poem juxtaposes windsurfing with how life is and how life can be if we relax and open to the synchronicity of spirit, soul, and action. Now, in those days of the late 1970s and early 1980s, the boards were one design, long boards with large sails, as the sport had been invented not long before and was just gaining popularity. In case you're not a sailor or have never windsurfed on a long board with a big sail and no foot straps or harness, I'll share the experience. You're standing on a long surfboard with the base of a sail attached to it. The rest of the sail starts out in the water, which is filling the sail as you pull it up, causing it to feel more like an anchor than a sail. As you pull the knotted rope to lift it out, your feet at first turn the slipping board in the water as you attempt to brace yourself against the weight. If you yank suddenly with brute force, you can hurt your back. And as the sail slowly rises and begins to spill the water, it takes a steady patience while it almost imperceptibly and then slowly increases its ascent till its full release into the air all at once in that last moment of transition. So you could easily fall over backwards and off the board into the water. If you manage to avoid that fate, and once the sail is in the air, you must catch the wind in the sail by tilting it slightly across the center line of the board. To steer left or right, you tilt the top of the sail forward or back. When the sail pops out of the water, and all these things must be done, when the sail pops out of the water, all these things must be done in an instant and in relation to that moment's wind speed and direction, or else you could be pulled forward into the water with the sail. After many spills into the water, and if you observe the wind, once you've felt the sweet spot of everything in balance, it's almost like riding a bike and you never forget how to do it. And those dynamics are all available in this poem, which is shorter than my introduction, and also in life. The poem is called Balancing Wind. We are the sail, the board, and the wind in one synchronous, balanced, fluid voyage. We have felt the sail luff and spill its wind, and even felt it dragged down into the deep. We've also been steady in our faith as it slowly rose again till finally bursting free from water into air, and then providing a moment there of reckoning, which way to turn, and how much force to balance with our own, to tilt in one direction or the other, all within a moment's graceful instinct of opening to the sweet spot of pure and balanced joy, flying free.
Wonderful. Sue, that was wonderful. I watched the video that you had sent via email, and absolutely incredible. Such a wonderful history of the art of surfboarding and how it all came to be. So thank you for the denouement here live on FCTV. Thank you so much. All righty. Oh, Abby, it's your turn, my friend. You're getting to be an old hand at this.
Hello, my name is Abigail O, and this is the third poem I am entering. I wrote this poem thinking about the 6 weeks until spring. I decided to include that in my poem. I hope you enjoy it. Though it might not be the same, the 6 weeks will go by. Though it might feel like a year, we're here. Because nothing can stop the 6 weeks or 6 feet away from floating on. But when that goes by, everything will change to a different world and a different community. It's the 6 weeks till spring. So that is the only poem I have.
And a wonderful one it is. I can't wait till spring either. Thank you so much, Abby. And I understand the next friend up is your sister, Katie.
Hi, I'm Katie O. I'm 10 years old and love writing, particularly poetry, and I'm excited to share my poem on New Beginning with you all tonight. Winter's come again and we're in despair, but remember, spring will come again. Until the sun comes back, the trees are bare. I will always wonder, not now, but when. I can't wait for when the warm weather comes. I want to roam the fields and meadows free. We can pick many apples, pears, and plums, exploring new things that you can go see. Know that summer is not too far away. Believe, have hope, you aren't all alone. Winter's long, but it will turn out okay. The way to the future is still unknown. I can't wait for all these things to just start. It can all happen if you do your part.
Thank you, Katie. That was wonderful. What a talented family you two have. My goodness. Do you share your poems back and forth as you're writing them? You could be each other's best audience. Thank you for letting us be your audience too. Christina Laurie.
Unmute myself here. Hi, everybody.
Thank you.
Happy New Year. With the theme of being, Christina Laurie, that's me. With the theme of being new, I have 2 New Year's poems to read. The first one is called New Year. In stone silence, the world waits at the brim of the new year, breathlessly anticipates new promises and hope. Stands still on the edge of the world, holds its breath as if life would escape at the first exhale. Scatters old wishes on frozen ground, seeks new replacements for the rejected and unwanted. Searches new horizons, wishes that tomorrow would be different, that tomorrow Pandora's box would close and hope again would once come, or hope would come once again. So, and this one, that was written back in 2019. This is my 2021 New Year's poem, which is called New Year's Resolutions. Decisions, late night thoughts on New Year's Eve. Once again, I make a list of the most important things, wishes, knowing that most will be forgotten by the end of February. Scraped away by unseen demands, lost among sleeping hydrangeas. Gazing at the woods outside the kitchen window, as I lean on the marble counter, I see winter has frozen grass into stiff sentinels. I think of all the things left undone, of all that COVID stole from my life, of all the wonders I missed in the changing world. And I scrape the seeds out of the butternut squash. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Christina. 2, not 1, but 2 New Year's poems. And do you feel the difference between the 2 years?
Very different. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Awesome.
In the poems and in my life, both.
Thank you so much, Christina.
Yeah.
Lynn Vitti, you are here, my dear.
Good evening. I really want to thank Katie and Abigail O for their poems, because I am so excited to see young people, not only Amanda Gorman, but even younger people write poetry. So thank you, Katie and Abigail. I have 2 poems. They're both pandemic poems, recently written. The first one is called Meal Planning During Pandemic. Let's have hot dogs and beans tonight. I'll make hot dog rolls from scratch. But the can of beans I thought I saw in the pantry last week isn't there. Disappeared. Maybe I'll make baked beans from scratch. I did that once in college. Turned out okay. But baked beans require 6 hours to make. Maybe I'll make the hot dog roll dough now. No. Better to make Boston brown bread. That can't be difficult. It's just like cake, isn't it? Wait, we don't have a real coffee can, except the chock full of nuts tin that holds screwdrivers, and it's sat in the paint cupboard for 30 years. Coffee doesn't come in tins anymore. Look, Betty Crocker online says I can use a loaf pan. We have all the makings: rye flour, cornmeal, molasses. But brown bread takes 135 minutes to bake, steaming in a loaf pan in a water bath. Why are we so disorganized? Let's have spaghetti. There's some leftover marinara in the freezer. But tomorrow, Saturday night, we'll dine on homemade baked beans, brown bread, and those fancy, uncured, fearless beef franks from Iowa. Play Scrabble afterwards. Listen to Chris Smithers and Laurie McKenna tunes. Our bellies will be full. And I have one more pandemic poem called Vaccine Blues. I hear the vaccines are coming. Everyone I know can't wait to sign up or already await their second dose, or maybe just aren't saying. I'm not old enough for the first round. I'm not an essential worker. Maybe by Easter I'll get to roll up my sleeve. I've become addicted to Irish oatmeal, tiny steel-cut nuggets I drop into a pot of boiling water, turn the heat down low, walk away and vacuum the rug so I don't stand over the pot. A layer of toasted walnuts, a sprinkling of dark brown sugar, blueberries from Mexico, a splash of whole milk, dessert for breakfast. I try imagining I'm at Fenway Park or at a tent, at a drive-in movie parking lot, any injection site, waiting in the New England spring to bare my arm for the Moderna, the Pfizer, whatever's on the menu. In the meantime, I spoon another bite of porridge into my mouth, enact patience. Thank you.
Then I have a recipe for you for brown bread that's a lot easier and doesn't take an hour, multi-hours.
Well, actually, we made it, and it turned out great. You can make it in the oven, but it still takes 135 minutes. But it was the beans that took forever. But everything was fabulous. We had the best dinner. And actually, we had 2 dinners.
Great.
It was great. Thank you.
Makes me hungry. You know, COVID brain is actually a semi-diagnosis. Here we are in our homes, you know, not going anywhere. You think we couldn't get lost along the way, but I know I so often find myself spinning in circles, you know, getting through the day. And everybody's singing those vaccine blues. Yes, they are. All right. Thank you, Lynn. And Mary Swope, so nice to see you back.
I'm Mary Swope, and it's really nice to be back. I was working for all this time. I've been working on my new book, which is called Phosphorescence, and it's just out.
Oh.
And so I was planning tonight to read a couple of 3 short poems from Phosphorescence, and written over a period of quite a few years. The first 2 of them are about washing dishes, and I'm not particularly domestic, but I find that the washing dishes is somehow a good place to generate poems. The first is called Soap Opera. In tears over the dishes, lonelier than she's been all day, dealing with the dog, babies, wedding china. The neglect her husband bestows upon her seems held in this one moment. She lets secrets out with the water, her dreams of a lover curl down the drain, ghost-like. Folding desire away with her apron, she leaves to check on the children, turns out the light. Later, she wanders back to the kitchen as if to find something she left with her sponge, picks up the sponge and wipes the clean counter clean. And 45 years later, someone very like that young wife has a very different take. This poem is really about the constellations in the sky, two of them that we see every night if we look. Orion with his belt and his sword, and then there's Cassiopeia that looks like a big M in the sky, which is well, you'll hear. Meditation, Woods Hole, February 2017. Washing the dishes, I watch how a week can vanish under the sluice of days. Down the warm staircase, I hurry to fetch the trash can from the driveway, where all day long it languished as I sat caged indoors. Hit by the frigid dark, I glance up, struck by a blaze of stars, fat, brilliant, dazzling my eyes. High above Vineyard Sound, broad-shouldered Orion strides with his sexy sword. And there, flung overhead, Cassiopeia's chair, throne of a queen. And I'd like to read, finally, the last poem of the book, which is called Putting Away the Boat. We have a Rhodes 19, and every summer, the ceremony we all go through is carrying that mask down the path, and I always find it a very sad moment. And this was written when my father-in-law was rather ill, and I found myself reading it at his memorial service. And the word cortege was used a lot after John Kennedy's funeral, where they had a funeral cortege, a parade, and that's what that refers to. And so that this is really an elegy. Putting away the boat. The mast's dead weight across our shoulders. We gather in the shrouds, the trailing stays, and with slow steps past red sumac, where poison ivy glows and beach plums darken, we form a cortege for summer, turn backs to the beach, to shoulder winter's burden. The sadness we hear in the cry of the Canada geese as they vee south is our own, not theirs. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary. Wow. That putting away the boat, I understand that feeling. And I think that was my favorite of the three that you read. Thank you so, so much. And another friend, a new friend to this stage, not to all stages, I know Rick from Cotuit Center for the Arts. I am so glad you have found your way to us, Rick. Can you unmute yourself?
Okay, you ready? All right. You know, I went to Iceland with the attitude that I hate puffins because they're too cute. Then I saw puffins, and I love puffins because they're too cute. That's my whole philosophy of everything. So I was looking for Scotch tape. I was looking for Scotch tape in an Icelandic gas station, filled with lamb hot dogs, gummy puffins, minky sandwiches, but no tape. I noticed out of the window hordes of rushing, very clean people, tumbling down into an underground mall. It had a Sharpies, a Subway shop, a movie theater advertising an Icelandic film. The huge, enticing poster imprisoned me. It described a partially clad princess bathing in a pool of dark water, surrounded by albino wolves with glowing red eyes in a grotto of emeralds, telling me to rescue her just by her hypnotic stare. Maybe it will be her blood-sucking kiss that will kill me, not the wolves. Suddenly, I noticed I was in a mob of very delicate people who eat a lot of fish, who stare at themselves in obsidian mirrors, arranging their hair as stars are born and die. I asked the nearest person, "What is this?" "This is Reykjavik University. We meet early in the morning before the shops open." A fish-like enchantress whispered, "Please do not weep because the sun is leaving. Your eyes will be too filled with tears to see the stars. Are you looking for Scotch tape?" Now the other one, my brother living was a monster, but after he passed away, he became very funny and a very good friend of mine. However, one night in the hospital, he started talking about his history of kissing. Now, it went on for 3 hours, and it became extremely funny. And in fact, it became so funny the nurses let us stay there until 1 o'clock in the morning. My brother's kissing history. My brother's kissing history traveled through insane asylums, dude ranches, church basements to finally find quiet in a hospice in Tijuana, Mexico, called the Oasis of Hope. I've seen him pick up a small sculpture of a sweet girl that he went to Sunday school with, kiss it. "I always wanted to kiss you, you little piece of fruit, even though it took 50 years. He described other kinds of kissing. Burping kiss. Overbite kiss. Drawing blood kiss. Lack of deodorant kiss. Sneezing kiss. Farting kiss. Jesus is watching kiss. Cross-eyed. Tongue bath kiss. Even in the dark while watching the 10 Commandments, he managed to kiss Amish twins who were absolute strangers to him. He returned to his imaginary kingdom across the northern border to kiss no more." Thank you. It's great being here.
Thank you, Rick. You are such a traveler, and you took us to 2 very unique places, I've got to say. I didn't know you'd ever been to Iceland. That's fascinating.
Oh, yeah. That was last year. Yeah.
Well, we must talk about that. Okay.
Don't eat the shark.
Well, I can't believe we had several people drop out tonight, and so I find it hard to believe we've come to the end of the evening. I'm going to close. I'll close with a poem I wrote this past New Year's Eve, and it's entitled "On the Threshold of Hope." Almost midnight. Last night of the year, my little dog and I bound out the front door. I banged my spaghetti pot lid with a metal spoon like a Chinese gong. Cheer, happy new year to all the neighbors asleep behind their darkened windows. In the distance, booms echo the dim fallout of fireworks. I look up in the black sky, festooned with so many stars, blow a kiss to Orion, who recognizes me and winks. Then that great bone white moon swoons as she love croons to the infant year with a benediction of hope. 2021, yay!
Great job, everybody.
Yes, what a wonderful night. I am so grateful to begin this spanking brand new year with you guys. I'd like to invite you to email any thoughts or suggestions to Andrew at fctv.org. And you know that this edited performance will be shown on FCTV's channel 13 as well as the YouTube channel. Now, next poetic license. We're already thinking ahead here. Thursday, February 25th. And February is a very busy month. Groundhog's Day, Black History Month, Valentine's Day, National Children's Dental Health Month, Chinese New Year of the Ox, President's Day, Mardi Gras, the day the music died in honor of Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper, and my personal favorite, Spunky Old Broads Day. So, to fit everything, the theme will be what the world needs now. How finish the sentence? That's what it's about, okay? Let's say thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you, Andrew.
Performers, you dazzled us. Have a scintillating month. And please
Thank you.
be well and shine on, okay?
Donna. Thanks, Donna.